Hello, this is Sally from Crafting Gal Sal, and today I'm going to show you how I make these cute little mini composition books. I buy them from the Dollar Tree. You can get them in a set of 3 in a package, so they're really cheap and really fun to make. So right here is the layout of some of the things that I used to make to decorate the little book. And as you can see, I've got different papers that I chose that I really love. I love the colors, the black and the green and blue. I've already cut my paper down to size, so as you can see, it is about 2 1/4 by 3 1/4, and that will give you the base of the card. I'm also going to mat that on some of the black paper. I'm showing you here where I got the monogram. It came in one of my big card packs, so all I did was cut out the ones that I wanted to use. The black cardstock I use as my mat for the monogram as well as for the pretty pattern paper. And I've got my handy dandy Signo white gel pen. And I'm also using this Jelly Roll pen that is just like a clear glitter that I really love to use. I've also got these gems that just match my paper, and some pretty glittery paper that I'm going to use to help embellish the card and give it a little sparkle. This is the art glitter glue that I use that really sticks well, and then you're just going to need some scissors, and you'll need some dimensional foam to pop things up off of the front of the book. You're also going to need some ribbon, and I chose this really pretty ribbon that's got some green bands on it that matched the patterned paper. I also found an inspirational message. Again, this came from a larger piece out of one of my big paper pads. So I just found something that I liked and cut it out of there, and that's what I used to decorate the side of the mini book. So I'm going to show you how I go about covering the composition book with some paper. I chose cardstock that is colored like tie-dye, and I'm just showing you how I kind of line it up to make sure I have a big enough piece, and then I'm going to apply the glue right to the top of the composition book. I'm being really careful to get around the edges because I want to make sure that the paper sticks to the edges very well, and then I don't want to go over top of that black band that is the binding of the composition book. So I'm just going to put the glue on there, and then you'll see I'll just take the paper and line it up with that black band carefully, and this glitter glue sticks almost immediately, so you have to be real careful when you put your paper down that you put it exactly where you want it. I'm just kind of pressing down around the edges, and then I'm going to flip the book over and open it up so that I can make sure there's no glue seeping out around the edges that'll stick to the paper inside. So once I have that glued down, I'm going to take my scissors and just cut around the edges to give it a nice clean cut following the edge of the composition book. So just get yourself some long scissors. I find that does the best if I have a long straight cut that I need to do. I can just line it right up with the edge and make some longer straight cuts. The corners are, for me, the hardest. So anyway, I'm recording this on a snow day from school. We have extremely cold temperatures, so we're not in school today, and I thought I'd take this opportunity to go ahead and do the voice for this particular video. I see that I've got a little bit of the composition book cover showing there, so I want to go in and with my scissors and cut that off so you can't see it. But anyway, there's the front of the book, and I'm going to do the same exact technique to the back, making sure I've got enough paper showing you how I just make sure I have enough paper, and then I'm going to do the same exact thing. So I hope you guys are all staying warm today. I'm pretty warm and comfy up here in my craft room, or my craft studio that I've just recently been calling it. So anyway, my husband, poor husband, had to go out to work, but I think it's like -5 degrees or something right now outside, which is why they canceled school here in Wood County, West Virginia. And I know that it's just below freezing in many, many parts of the country. So our temperature, I'm sure, feels warm for those people that are up in Minnesota and places north of me. They're really suffering with the cold weather, but anyway. So you just squish that down, and then, like I said before, you want to open it up so that you're not having any of that glue seep out from around the edges and stick to the pages of your book. So I just run my fingers along there and get any excess glue off of there. I know this video is a little bit long because I really take you through the whole process of how I made these composition books. But there's all kinds of different ways you can decorate them. And some don't take quite as long as others. This one took a little bit more time just because of all the different types of embellishment that I did with them. But I really liked how they turned out, and I sent them off to some of my crafty friends, and they all responded with how much they love them, so that made me happy. That's what it's all about, making some beautiful decorations and then giving them out to your friends and family and making other people happy. So, okay. So now I have just the cover of the composition book covered in pretty paper, and then I'm going to work on the patterned scrapbook paper that I chose. So the first thing I'm going to do is put it on a black cardstock mat, and I'm just kind of lining it up there to see how I want it and how thick of a mat I want to surround it. But I'm going to put the glue right on the back of the patterned paper, again trying to get around the edges as close as I can, and then just squiggle some on the inside. You could use different types of glue if you want to. Sometimes I use the Derry's permanent rolling glue. Sometimes I use just some Elmer's glue. Sometimes I use a glue stick. So it just depends on, I think, your application and what you're using it for. Because these are little journals, I felt like it was important to use the craft or the art glitter glue because it sticks so well. Anyway, so I put that paper down, and I have a nice thin edge, and I'm just going to use my scissors to cut away the rest of the paper and just try to go as straight as I can And there I have my little pattern paper with a pretty black mat. Now I'm taking my glitter scraps that I have and showing you, or deciding, actually, I'm really deciding where I want to put it at this moment. I kind of like it off center. I don't like to center everything exactly in the middle, so I like to kind of position things higher or lower than the middle. And I'm just going to put my glue right on this strip of glitter paper and then stick it down where I want it and cut off the excess on the edge. So there's not a lot of exact measuring going on, as if you'll notice. I do a lot just by eyeballing it, and sometimes it works out nice and straight and sometimes it doesn't. But if you'll notice the Stampin' Up! Paper pad that I have that I work on, it is all measured out into 1/4 inch grid with, you know, the ruler on the sides. So I do use that a lot. I'll just lay my paper down and kind of use the 1/4 inch grid to line things up. But there's the little glitter band, and then there's my monogram that I had already previously mounted on black paper, just like I showed you before. But in this video, I'm going to make one. The one that I'm making is for another one of my friends, so I needed to cut out the letter M. And I'm going in, I don't want the black background one, I want the blue background one. I was afraid the black one would just blend in too much with the pattern paper that I chose. So there's the M. Again, nothing exact, just using my scissors to cut it out. You can do it. I'm going to mount this on black cardstock like I did the K. Make it nice and just a thin line around the outside of it. Just kind of set it off from the rest. Always put your stainless steel pin back in that art glitter glue immediately, or it'll dry up really quickly and clog up your the little adapter that you put on the top of the glue bottle that lets the glue come out in real thin lines. It's very easy to clog up if you leave that pin out of there for any length of time. So I'm just trimming up the edges to try to make it as even as possible, and I think I did a pretty good job. So this M is ready to go on, or the K in this case. And now I'm taking my Signo gel pen and just putting some white stitching around the outside to further embellish or enhance this paper. It just gives it a little more decoration and fancies it up a little bit, so it's not just a plain piece of paper that you cut out from a paper pad. I ordered these Signo gel pens from Amazon. I think there were 3 in the set. And now I'm doing the same thing to the pattern paper, just putting some stitching around the outside, and as you can see, it really kind of makes that paper pop a little more and separates it from the black base that I put around it. This paper crafting is so relaxing to me. Right now I don't have any music playing, but sometimes I just like to play some music in the background, just to listen to some music. Sometimes I watch other YouTube videos, or I have them on my television as I work, just a little bit of background noise. But I'd say half the time I just have complete silence in my room, which is also very nice. I'm a teacher. I teach second graders, and so silence to me is golden. Now I'm using the Jelly Roll clear glitter, just kind of going around those little circles on the paper and making those pop out as well. I love that clear glitter. It's really nice. Now I'm going to use my dimensional stickers, foam stickers, so that the monogram can sit higher up off the paper. And I use the needle nose plier tool to pick them off of the paper they come on, and then once I get them down, I use the same tool to just lift off the piece of paper that protects the gluey, the other sticky side. And it works really well for me. I bought these tools a long time ago when I was doing jewelry making. And jewelry making was my primary craft, but I've since switched to paper crafting, and I think I like it even better. So anyway, I'm lifting this K up off of the background, and so it sits up higher than everything else, and then I'm going to stick it right on that book. I'm loving it. Loving it. Here comes the art glitter glue again, and guess what? I'm going to put it as close to the edges as I can. That's my first thing. Go around the edges, make sure I get some on top of the back side of the little glue or glitter strip thing that I put on there. Put the pin in. And now, eyeballing it, I'm eyeballing it against the black strip of binding that's on the composition book. I'm making sure that it's straight with that binding, as straight as I can get it with my eyes anyway. And then just, rubbing off the excess glue around the edge. The art glitter glue does dry clear, but I want to make sure there's no bubble, big bubbles of it. Now I'm going to grab my trusty tool again and my needle nose pliers, and I also use them to put gems on my cards and anything else that I'm making, because it helps me to put it exactly where I want it. So just putting one gem on there, kind of in the opposite corner of where the K is sitting. But there is a little book, and well, no, it's not last. I still need to put my ribbon on there, and I still need to put the little sentiment on the side. So I'm just trying to see where I want to put the ribbon, and I'm picking out which sentiment I want to use for this book. There's a lot of good ones to choose from, but some of them are just a little too long to fit on this little mini book. And I've decided on A winner is a dreamer. And then I'm just going to take it and trim it closer to the wording. Trying to be as straight as I can be. And trimming it on both sides. And now it's ready to glue. So here comes the art glitter glue again. And we're going to stick it right on that border or binding. Trying to center it with the patterned paper. And now, last not least, will be the ribbon. And I use ribbon on these to keep the book closed, especially if somebody wants to keep their book in their purse or something like that. I put ribbon on these, and that way people can just tie them closed and try to keep them nice. But the ribbon also looks pretty, so that's a bonus. Well, once I've decided where I want the ribbon to be, which is taking me forever on this one. No wonder this video is so long. I'll just tie a bow. And then I will put some glue on the back cover underneath the ribbon to hold it in place. And you'll see me do that in just a minute, or in a few seconds. And just run it right underneath where I have the ribbon. And again, this is going to dry clear. So that's another really great thing about that art glitter glue. And that's going to hold that in place. And it is done.